Oh, Wednesday. We love Wednesdays, don't we? Wednesdays are good. We went to sports. Wow, did we ever go to sports? I thought you were gonna throw some silly movie right back at me. Next week it's gonna be bad. I know it.
You're gonna pay for this week.
For this week. We did a couple of sports movies. We went. We watched Draft Day with Kevin Costner.
Yep.
And we watched Moneyball with Brad Pitt. Where do you want to start? Draft Day. We'll start with that one. I thought that was a good movie. I like movies like this because it gives you like a backstory, the inside of kind of, obviously it is like Hollywooded up. I don't know if that's the right word, but it is now because I'm using it. So shut up. To make it good for Hollywood, but it's cool to see like the inside of like how a draft room would work. For you, those of you who don't know, it's about the GM of the Cleveland Browns and the drafting process. They're going through
the NFL
draft. Yes, his owner wants him to make a big splash, and all in all, in the end.
When you gave me this movie, I cringed. It's like, what did I do to you, you bastard?
I knew it. I was like, ooh, he's gonna love me for this one.
By the time I was done watching it, I was glad I watched it, actually.
Yeah, that's good.
The beginning of the movie was very atypical. It was like, what? And then it got to the wheeling and dealing. Like, it was when it got down to that wheeling and dealing and everything going down, it was like this was actually really good.
It was cool. It was cool to see. If we're gonna spoil it, he ends up trading he trades 3 years worth of first round picks to get the number 1 overall pick because his owner was like, you need to make a splash and blah, blah, blah,
there was a big star coming up, like the next Joe Madden type person, and everybody wants him. And who was it? The Dolphins?
The Seahawks.
The Seahawks
had the number 1 pick.
Had the number 1 pick.
Browns had number 7, and they were looking at this one guy, and then they ended up trading 3 first-round picks to get the number 1 pick. So the owner was all happy and stuff like that. But in the end, he ends up taking the guy he originally wanted because he found some deficiency in the star quarterback.
Nothing serious, but it could be.
Like, it pretty much came down to, and, it probably happens where none of his teammates went to his birthday or his 21st birthday or something like that. So that kind of threw up red flags. He ended up making a whole bunch of wheeling and dealing. Like they said, they sprinkled it with fairy dust and turned it into...
Yeah, but by the time he was done, he had 3 first-round picks.
He got them back,
all in the top 10. Yeah. He got everybody he wanted.
He got a kick returner. It was cool.
Yeah,
that would never happen in like the real. That would never happen, and that's what I mean by that. Like, this is Hollywooded up.
Yeah,
because that would never happen. That would something like that would never happen.
Really, like the whole love story that was happening in between. The whole thing was with his father was just like really, it almost feels like they're jamming love stories into everything because they want to attract the female audience.
Pretty much, yeah. Like,
So, personally, I'm not a sports fan. But I'm going to say, watch this movie. Watching the payoff at the end, because it counts down 12 hours until draft. They start counting down, and things start to happen. And by the time they get down to hour 4, and it goes from there, it's just like it was actually worth the payoff. Like
it's
the
not
whole
like
thing that happens.
On YouTube, you'll see like behind the scenes of actual like drafts and stuff like that. You'll see it's not like that.
No,
it's like that, but it has more story into it. It has more of a bigger payoff again because the thing that happens in this movie would never happen in a real.
This is definitely a Hollywood ending.
Yeah,
but just watching, the one guy get drafted first. Just that was like the fact that he picked him right off, and it's just like,
well, that was his intuition to pick him.
Totally, I totally agree.
Like, screw it, I'm picking him.
But wow, when he phoned up the GM of the Jaguars, and he was talking with him, and the guy's like, buddy to buddy, friend to friend. Tell me what the hell's going on.
Yeah. what do you know that we don't know?
Yeah, it's like...
and you know that those kind of conversations probably do
those happen. Conversations, I
happen.
bet you happen.
You know, and like me being an ultimate sports fan, you do obviously, you know, like... I like seeing behind the scenes stuff like that to a point. And so I thought this had a good dose of Hollywood and a good dose of reality into it.
Yeah.
You know, it added the fairy dust and the Hollywood aspect to it. So overall, it was really good. Like,
yeah, I enjoyed it. I was really surprised. By the time I was done, I was like,
watch this one. Definitely.
Yeah, I would strongly.
Like Kevin Costner was fun. Who was the girl in it? What the fuck was her name? It's not Jessica Alba, is it? I think it's is it Jessica Alba? No, it's not Jessica Alba, is it? It's Ben Affleck's wife, isn't it? Anyway, they're famous. They're real. They have higher end actors in it, but I thought they all did a great job.
Yes.
Second movie
was my pick, and because he was doing a draft type thing, Moneyball was the only sports movie that I actually had any kind of inkling to see. You know, it came out. I was like, oh, this sounds like it could possibly be interesting. So
another great choice.
What? This was a counterpoint to your draft day, and it was just as good.
Yeah, it was fat. I love that movie. When he gave it to me, I was like, yes, good choice. I was like, yes. You know, I've seen it a few times. I've seen it a couple times.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I've seen it a couple times.
There we go.
Because again, this one didn't have as much Hollywood to it as Draft Day. Draft Day is more of a, hey, we want to get the mainstream moviegoers to come and see this.
Yeah.
Moneyball was based on a true story.
Yep.
Of the Oakland Athletics. I can't remember what year it was, but the basic premise behind it is they're there in baseball. There's the big money teams and there's the small money teams. Oakland is a small money team, so they have to get creative with their
by comparison. Oakland was a $40 million team, and the New York Yankees are a $120 million team.
So that's huge. That's a huge difference. So like obviously how competitive you are is based on that. Right, so it just takes a behind the scenes look on the wheelings and dealings of that and the improbable run of the Oakland
probabilities. Athletics. That's the name of the game in this one. It was getting people that may not have been. This was not not like the sports comedies where you have a team of misfits coming together and making a big splash. This was a team of misfits put together to achieve a certain goal, and this is
analytics. Like nowadays, analytics is huge.
It's everywhere.
This was analytics before it was cool. You see analytics now, and it's just to me, it's too much. Like I believe that analytics are a tool that can be used in judging players, judging teams, but they're not everything. They're not the end all and be all of sports. And that's the Oakland Athletics back then. Like I said, it was like probably the 2000s, I think, somewhere in there. But before, like, analytics were cool. That's what they were using to build their team around. So you would see a lot of players. You were like, oh, they're washed up, and it's like they ended up going on a somewhat of a run. They didn't win the World Series or anything, but the 20
win streak.
Yeah.
Wow. Watching it, because they showed off, I believe it was actual screenshots from the actual game, and what they did do was in the game 20, the GM has a curse. Whenever he watches a game, the team loses. So he never watches the game. He doesn't listen to the game. He doesn't do anything. Right? The Oakland A's were up 11-0, and his daughter convinces him, "You watch the game. You can't curse it."
Yeah.
He walks in, and it just
falls apart.
Blow an 11-0 lead, and I was like, I felt for them.
And that's cool that they actually used like that part of it. Like,
and then it's just the coach is like, you know what, go out and bat. And tells the one guy, go out. He knows it's just like whatever, and he takes a swing. You hear the crack, and it's just like, whoa!
It showed a good like dynamic of relationship between GM and manager, because the manager was like, what are you doing? Like, there was one point where I was like, the GM wanted him to bench. The GM wanted to bench, said, don't play this guy at first base. If you keep playing him, you're not, So he ended up trading the player.
I know.
And the manager was like, what are you doing? He's one of our best players. And it's like, he didn't want him there because of analytics. There was something there. And in contrast to, like, between Draft Day and Moneyball. Moneyball was more realistic, where the scenarios actually could happen, whereas Draft Day was more.
Well,
these are
in Moneyballs, the scenarios did happen.
Yeah.
This was based on. Now, I'm sure they took some liberties in how certain things were actually said, but the fact that he did actually trade the guy in the middle of the season, he traded another guy in the middle of the season, and it's just like, wow, okay, you're about to get fired, but
and then after all of it, the guy that Brad Pitt was playing, the GM of the Oakland A's, he was offered huge money to go be the GM of the Boston Red Sox. He ended up turning it down and staying in Oakland and trying to finish out what he wanted to do. It didn't work out for them in the end, but it was still cool. It was really good. This one, if you're a sports fan and you love like that, this one.
It comes down to really this. Depending on what type of sports fan you are, is which movie you're going to enjoy the most. I'm not a big of a sports fan as you are, so I was able to enjoy both of them because
definitely.
Analytics I enjoy. It's something that I like.
I love analytics. Like I love the concept of like the Moneyball, the small ball stuff like that. But like analytics nowadays, like I just cringe, especially hockey. Like being the sports fan that I am, there's so many analytics guys who sit there and you're just like, oh, okay, I get it. Like that, I get it. I get the use of stats and I get the use of projections and stuff like that and all that. But I go.
But it's like, don't tell me as much. I don't need to know everything.
I watch a game and I see what I see.
Yep.
And that's how I judge things. You know what I mean? But, it was cool. They were both really good. They're both recommendations on my list.
I would go. I would watch them again. Both of those movies, at one point in time, I might actually just sit down and watch. But I would recommend, watch them.
I think Moneyball, for me, anyways, is like one of those movies if I'm looking through and I want to watch a movie because there's nothing on television, and I see it, I go, oh, you know what? I've seen it, but I'm going to watch it again.
Yeah.
It's one of those where it's the go-tos of where you can watch it, and it still kind of intrigues you.
Yeah, because it's just because it was interesting story, interesting people. They didn't go into people too much, but they went into it enough to give you that sense.
Yeah, they didn't try to force a love story.
Yeah,
or any kind of this guy has problems, and it's like there was no. You knew who they were, but it wasn't so much of a backstory to take away from the main point.
Instead of a backstory, the guy with bum knees is just like, this guy's bum knees is like, well, we're going to use him anyways. Yeah. And then he walks up to him and he's sitting. There's no wah. Yeah. It's just like, I'm sorry, I'm taking you down to the minor, and he's like, and that was it. But you feel for him anyways. So
there
you go.
So they were good. They were good. Let us know if you've seen these two movies, what you thought of them, and don't forget to leave a like, leave a comment, and hit the subscribe button. See you guys later.